our King County Executive, Dow Constantine.
Thank you, Leisha. And thanks to everyone. I am thrilled to be able to purchase a City Club membership for my 18,000 employees. It's going to be great. All for $500. No, dang it. I will have to put in a request with our budget director then. It's great to be here tonight. I know this setup is kind of fun, but the bar is right next to the speaker and on TV. So if you need another drink, just kind of sneak up this wall and go around this direction. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and present. You know, King County is a less well-known government. People are really aware of the city of Seattle and state and federal government, but we do so much stuff. And I could stand here and bore you for hours and hours and hours about what's happened over the course of this year. Our communications folks every year put together a like greatest hits kind of thing, and it's always like the 23 greatest accomplishments of 2023. And I told them that maybe they just, you know, this was great in 2009. So they just need to dial it back to the standard 10 for this year. But I'm just going to talk about 2, 3, 4 things that we've done this year. This is supposed to be the state of King County. That is a half-hour set-piece speech. But instead, I just want to sort of reflect on some of the things that are top of mind. I mean, we're here in this magnificent city, a place that has been a gathering spot since time immemorial, and a place that continues to evolve actually quite rapidly these days, John Scholes. And yes, let's hear it for John Scholes. Single-handedly building downtown Seattle. And you know, you don't have to look far past this neighborhood or go back very far to recognize the remarkable evolution of the community here in central Puget Sound. I've been the executive of this county, and speaking of the county, there's a guy right back here, Mr. John Wilson, your county assessor. Thanks for being here, John. Geez, I've been 14 years as of a couple weeks ago. I've been executive, and we have seen a lot of changes over the course of that time. The population of the county has grown from 1.8 to 2.3 million people. We have seen remarkable economic growth. We have seen the skylines changing in Seattle, and not just Seattle, but in Bellevue and other urban centers. And really remarkable change across our 39 cities and the unincorporated area and our sister counties that together make up the place that the world knows as Seattle. We look back at this year and think about, you know, how much has happened now that we're all back out of our Zoom rooms and actually seeing each other again. And it's been a pretty exciting time. First on housing, just yesterday I was just telling these folks this. I got to join with Mercy Housing and Sound Transit and with Amazon to do a groundbreaking on a new affordable housing project at the Angle Lake Rail Station, which is in SeaTac. And I want to thank Amazon for stepping up and helping to fund that. But this is going to be a great project that provides affordable housing at transit for 130 families, including people, about I think 30 units set aside for folks with developmental disabilities or developmental delay with services. And this is the kind of work we need to do throughout all of these emerging urban centers so that we can be that community where every person has a place, can afford a place, and is able to thrive and take advantage of what this region has to offer. And that's just one project among nearly $30 million that the county is investing to build hundreds of new housing units really across that entire landscape. You know, we've struggled with this notion of the center city being the most desirable place, and then people have to move farther away to be able to afford it. But as we build this rail system with dozens and dozens of stations across 3 counties, there are suddenly dozens of centers where you can viably afford to live and work and have access to all of the educational and employment and recreational opportunities of the region. This is a radical change for our region, one obviously that should have happened decades ago. It has been a burr in my saddle since I was a little kid, and those rail measures failed in 1968 and 1970, but damn it, we're fixing it. So thanks for being there. You know, we also took another big step forward by passing the Crisis Care Centers levy, and I want to thank those of you who helped us put that together and help get it passed. This is a landmark investment in behavioral health in our communities. So how many people are sitting in jail, in a jail cell, when what they need is a treatment bed? How many people are at risk on the street when what they need is a place to recover? How many people, how many families across our community are quietly suffering and have nowhere to turn? We are going to be building centers for people in crisis across the region, investing in the longer-term residential treatment beds, and very importantly, for both this system and the broader behavioral health system, investing in the people who provide behavioral health care. You are investing that money over the course of several years, and it's going to make a big difference for our community. Now, we're just at the beginning stage of this. The money doesn't even start coming in until January, but we are moving forward as quickly as we can to meet this really glaring unmet need in our community. We launched a unique grant program this year as well. See, behavioral health, mental well-being is a critical issue, but there are a lot of related issues, including gun violence in our community, and the constant public health challenge, something we've declared a public health crisis of racism that is infused in everything in our society. And we launched a unique grant program, $25 million in direct investments that were community-driven to more than 120 organizations across the county to work to unwind and uproot systemic racism. As we seek to have our county come closer and closer to living up to the legacy of our namesake, Dr. King. And on the gun violence front, we launched our Office of Gun Violence Prevention, and this is the way in which communities, metropolitan regions across the country are beginning to respond to gun violence and to knit together our work with the federal government, with the work being done at the White House to combat this growing challenge in our nation. That idea that people should have the right to live free of violence, live free of the fear of gun violence, is at the center of our work in public health as well as in law enforcement, and we seek to ensure that freedom for everyone who resides here. It underpins our community's mission statement, our true north, that we are making this a welcoming community where every person can thrive. And a thriving community is one that leaves no one behind. I mean, this is a prosperous place. A lot of people are doing very well, and you know, I've lived here my whole life, and I've never seen opportunity like this. And yet there are people who, for generations, have been left behind here. And our challenge is to figure out how to include everyone in that prosperity and everyone in the cultural conversation. Not in my notes, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. Yesterday, the County Council approved Doors Open, our cultural access plan that is going to infuse about $100 million a year into arts, heritage, and culture, including access, including youth, including work in schools, making sure that every person can be part of the artistic community and that our arts organizations are stabilized, that they have stable funding, that they're not constantly struggling and under threat of going out of business. This is going to be a big boost for our community, something that's done in a few other places and something that's going to distinguish us among mid-sized cities in the United States. And, you know, I talk about us not leaving anyone behind. I mean that literally as well, because, of course, we're the transit agency. We're Metro Transit. We are also the senior partner in Sound Transit. Metro Transit is not a new idea. We celebrated our 50th anniversary a couple months ago. And we are continuing our investments in reliability and connecting more communities. Earlier this year, we opened our newest Rapid Ride line. That runs from Burien to White Center and into downtown. And as we move closer to the goal that I set to be fully emission-free, completely electrified by 2035, we unveiled a new livery for our buses. Livery is a fancy word for paint job. And it's new, bold, clear colors that cut through the fog and murk like we've been seeing outside over time. Clear branding showing that we are electrifying our fleet. And I want to mention I also serve as the chair of the Sound Transit Board. That is a very big job and a big part of my work every day. And we've got some exciting things to look forward to. In a few months, we're going to be opening the first stretch of rail on the east side, connecting Bellevue to Microsoft and Marymore, and soon thereafter, downtown Redmond and Mercer Island, and then across the bridge into downtown Seattle. It's going to be a real remarkable change for our region, just as the opening of University Link and Northgate were big changes for our region. This year, we also had the chance to highlight some unique things about Seattle and our region when the eyes of the nation turned here to celebrate our national pastime, one of America's greatest exports to the world. Of course, I'm talking about the Taylor Swift tour. It was a big deal for us, and between that and the All-Star Game, over the course of just a few days, we had like 1 million additional rides on transit, on buses and trains and the water taxi. People got the message, they used transit, and it is another step in our growing up as a region that not everyone has to rely on a car to get around. This is from my communications staff, surpassed our wildest dreams. That's a Taylor Swift reference, just so you know, but the only one in my notes, so. And while that was all exciting, as people came across the country to visit, it's nothing compared to what's going to happen in the World Cup. The World Cup is going to be a remarkable event for our region. Tens of thousands of fans heading to the stadiums, people even more traveling from around the world to support their national teams, putting us in the headlines for a month or more, and it's going to be a very big team effort by us to get ready for it and to make that happen. Events like this work when we all work together, the public sector, community organizations, businesses large and small, teaming up to pull off major events, and it requires big thinking and candidly also a willingness to take on the big challenges in our community. I want to salute the DSA, the city government, and everyone who's pulling together to help us get through some of the challenges that were exacerbated during the pandemic and that just simply need to be fixed in a way that is humane and consistent with our values. You know, big ideas are at the core of the last thing I want to talk about. I want to share with you that we are reimagining, and I'll ignore my notes and just riff here, the entire district around the King County Courthouse. This is an area of town that has been the government center forever, and it has not really been reinvested in for a very long time. And of course, we have a vacant office building, we have a dilapidated jail, we have the world's ugliest sky bridge, we have a vacant lot in the middle of downtown Seattle. We have a lot of opportunity here, right? And we're talking about 7 blocks in the middle of one of America's most dynamic cities that's just sitting there. And, you know, at 6 o'clock, it's mostly vacant other than the folks in the jail. So we have an opportunity to reimagine this, to create a neighborhood that is dynamic, that is mixed income and mixed use, that is 24 hours a day, that invigorates Pioneer Square and the International District and First Hill and even the Financial District, that is a product of our highest values and our best thinking. And we are drawing ideas from all around the country and all around the world. And this is not something that's going to happen in a day or a year or maybe even a decade. But we want to create a space that is more than just a bunch of unrelated buildings. We want to create a space that really generates true community among people from different backgrounds, of different incomes, and is safe to be in all day and all night. It's been an exciting thing for me, having lived in and looked at this space over the course of the last several decades, that we're on the precipice of actually being able to do this. Some of the most valuable land on the West Coast, some of the greatest zoning potential, the greatest development potential of any parcels anywhere, and they're just sitting there waiting for us to act. So we're going to do it right. We're not in a hurry. We're rather going to spend a lot of time thinking about how to get this right. We're going to get the right people involved in this. It's going to be a community-wide effort, and I could not be more excited to be here at the start of it. In conclusion, as we get closer to 2024, an awful lot of good things have happened in 2023, but clearly the best for our city, for our region, is yet to come. And the theme of building is one that I've really been dwelling on this year. Some of you have heard me talk about it, but whether it's physical building, like this region-wide rail system, or this new neighborhood in downtown Seattle, or rebuilding our public health and trauma hospital, or whether it is building the opportunity that people have to thrive through behavioral health care, economic opportunity, or anti-racism, finding a way for us to live up to our ideals, the ideals of Dr. King, the ideals that we have laid down in our true north, that we will be a community that welcomes everyone and within which every single person, regardless of where you started, can thrive. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here tonight.